FutureDad 43, the left are not stupid. Quote, nullius in verba, end quote, motto of the Royal Society. When perusing social media comments, it reminds me of the chase scenes of the old Hanna-Barbera cartoons. Whether it's Scooby-Doo or Fred Flintstone or a multitude of other characters, he will at some stage be chased through a haunted mansion or across the prehistoric desert at great speed. However, when you look closely at the background, it simply repeats over and over again. The characters are animated but not actually moving. The illusion of speed is maintained by showing the same lake, the same cluster of trees, the same rock whizzing by in the background, again and again and again. It's called a wraparound background. I feel this acutely in online discourse. The left will accuse the right of being racist, fascist, and even literally Hitler. And right-wing commentators will disparage the left as being woke-tards, libtards, and covidiots. It's exhausting. I've watched this uninspired background whiz past 1,000 times before. It's wholly inaccurate and simply cartoonish on both sides. And when you look at it for more than a second, it's clear we're not moving forwards at all. See these two comments. But things are starting to change on the right. The left's smears are losing power. Many on the right are getting over their acute sensitivity to scare words, to realise, actually, they're not scary at all. Fascist just means not communist, Nazi if you prefer. And racist just means not anti-white. Conversely, the right smears are not changing, but they need to, with some urgency, because they too are misplaced in a way that is harmful to our ability to understand the left and to win the culture war in time to save it. Simply put, smears directed at leftists' intelligence are inaccurate and useless. My own experience is that many on the left are quite smart, at least in a conventional scholastic way. The question to ask is, what really makes leftists think in utopian ways? Ways which are at odds with reality. It's not because of an intelligence deficit. That is a misdiagnosis. In this essay, I'll describe what's actually going on, starting with a personal example. I recently had a conversation at dinner with a female colleague, ostensibly a very smart lady and a success at the company. I mentioned that I left the previous country I'd lived in after they banned me from my own gym. She asked why I was banned. I said it was because I couldn't take the COVID jab. She then said, "Oh, you're one of those anti-vaxxers." She then laughed in an exaggerated fashion. This came off the back of something equally lazy I overheard her say about right-wingers the previous week. The actual comment was too bland and insipid to even recount, but together with her content-free gem at dinner, a pattern had been established which was worth analysing. It was difficult to analyse it value-free, given the weary contempt I now felt for her. A contempt which came from a confluence of several realisations. These were as follows. She's an information retailer, not a processor, producer, or contemplator. This means she buys mainstream news content cheaply wholesale, paying for it with bare minimum attention. She then sells it on at retail price to anyone who wanders into her proximity. The price is the psychic pain it inflicts on sovereign, free-thinking individuals, or the worsening of the semi-woke condition of those who are not. The news product she buys comes in daily, in bulk, a veritable van load of content. She engages no effort as a thinking adult to apply insight to it. She merely acts as a self-satisfied repeater station. In fact, she has lower standards of care for the goods she retails than a toy salesman or a branch manager of Tesco's. But that doesn't matter, for if the person doesn't like or buy what she resells, then that's their problem. There are many more potential customers, and the media industrial complex always has new products to sell. They cannot lose. Anything not adopted by the public is simply dumped out the back, never to be seen again. It will in fact be denied that it was ever sold. See FutureDad 38, Why Do the Elite Lie About Everything? She's a labelist. In lieu of an honest question to me about the ostracization I endured, one born of respect or intellectual curiosity, she pins a badge on me so she can stand back and look from afar. The job is done. No need for discovery, no need for introspection, even when she is more than capable of it. Why think when you can point and blurt words out and hopefully keep deeper thoughts and introspection at bay? She's a follower. Wisdom comes from authority, which the left do not question, because by repeating it, they become part of that authority's hive mind. When the science spoke and told her the answer, she was able to nod her head and the science made her safe again. Do not question the science because experts. Do not question the science because newsman. Do not question the science because big corporation makes you safe. She's a classic non-player character. Mistrust is ubiquitous on the right, tactical on the left. Why mistrust when everyone but the non-left is well-intentioned, and only the right are capable of evil? Diversity to an NPC means the opposite of what was originally intended. Diversity of sexual orientation, sexual equipment, and skin tone. Tolerate the intolerable, but not those who do not tolerate the intolerable. In the end, I did not respond to her anti-vaxxer comment because she was a colleague. The lessons of FutureDad 31, How to Conduct Yourself in the Office, on politics are clear. But also, there are just some things which haven't met the minimum standard for a reply. Analogous with scientific inquiry, they're not even wrong. All this brings me to my original premise. The left is not stupid. On the contrary, the case can be made that liberal tendencies trend with intelligence tests, and that they, on average, achieve more academically than the non-left. But that is no longer a distinction that matters. Academic intelligence is performative and untethered from rationality. In fact, given the widespread dumbing down of tertiary education, heavily skewed left-leaning academic departments, and race-based university admission, academic attainment has become a counter-signal of usefulness to the flourishing of society. Witness the cataclysmic damage caused by the one-child Chinese policy, championed by an incredibly clever rocket scientist, Song Zheng. That he was a genius-level IQ did not stop him contributing to the now demographic spiral that China faces. In other words, the elite, or their cheerleaders, claimed IQ or credentials are irrelevant. Everyone, smart or not, with no exception, deliberately evades consequences they don't like. See FutureDad 40, The West Can Only Focus on Secondary Issues, and fails to account for the myriad uncertainty of nature. See FutureDad 42, Everything New Takes 4 times as long. Prediction, as Enrico Fermi said, is difficult, especially of the future. It is their deference to authority and to experts that matters. IQ isn't even in the room. It is their obedience quotient which counts, for a similar reason that their hypocrisy doesn't count. See FutureDad 47, The Left's Hypocrisy is Irrelevant, since the left are inveterate credentialists, and that depends on the prevailing narrative, not consistency. Thus, they reflexively project their utopianism onto everyone. If you don't get on board, you are in the way. Words from an approved source, one in which the approval is imputed by others with credentials, are infallible and are the last words on the matter. This takes its reference form in Wikipedia. Wikipedia is the average of the liberal media opinion, repurposed as fact by the same liberal media. A snake eating its own tail. Technocratic government by aura bureaucracy. There is no genuine curiosity. Even the brightest leftist is still an NPC, downloading his position based on credentialists' mainstream narrative. The ones who promoted the narrative that Russia blew up its own lucrative oil pipeline are the very same ones who enacted the social policies in the worst decaying cities in the West. The very same ones who believe that corporations can be too big to fail. The very same ones who believe higher taxes will make the earth less hot. The very same ones who believe you are the gender you think you are. They are among the most highly educated in society. That, combined with their high OQ, makes them among the most dangerous. They need to be unapologetically driven out from positions of power, wherever they are found, before they finish the job of destroying our fragile culture and our ancient, precious nations. FutureDad.